All right, we're official when we hit that record button. So welcome everyone to the fourth call and the last call of 2023 of the Net Lease Council. And we're excited, Connie and I are excited to have you here again today. See some familiar faces and some new faces. So just to pivot off of what you were saying, Spencer, Monica, are you in San Diego?
Yes, I turned on my video because I heard Mission Beach and all these
Yeah.
key towns. So
Hi,
I
Monica.
was bad.
Well, you should connect with Spencer. Show him the sites down there.
It's a great spot. I would be happy to.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll shoot you a message, Monica, and we can connect.
That'd be great.
Cool. Well, welcome. Good to see you, Monica. How's my friend Tommy Thompson doing? I haven't seen you out on LinkedIn as much as I used to. I don't know if you blocked me because I was always making comments on your videos.
Hey guys. Yeah, no, I've been kind of busy. I had family in town for Thanksgiving. I got engaged the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Then we had Thanksgiving, and then my parents were here from New York. And then it was my birthday on December 1st, and then my best friend's wedding the day after my birthday. So I've been pretty busy. Yeah.
Action-packed, but it sounds like fun. Everything good.
Yeah, everything's good. And I'm actually planning a video recording session this week. So I'm going to have a bunch of new videos to roll out. I'm kind of trying to stack going into early next year. And then I'm actually over the holidays because everybody's going to be home, for the holidays and stuff, and probably on social media and things like that. So you'll be seeing a bunch more from me here soon. Be rolling it out.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah. Tommy, why don't you just take a minute to introduce Fortitude real quickly for the folks that aren't familiar, and then what you're doing with your council as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I run a private wealth management firm down here in Palm Beach County, Florida. We're a national firm. It's called Fortitude Investment Group. I have a domain that you guys can check out. It's 1031zone with a z.com. So you can go to 1031zone.com and access a bunch of different helpful tools and resources and webinars that we do. But pretty much what we do in a nutshell is we help property owners transition from active to passive using the 1031 exchange and the DST. So if you guys know what a Delaware statutory trust is or a DST, it's pretty much just in a nutshell, you can own a fractional slice of the pizza of a larger institutional asset. So maybe it's a 1,000,000 square foot Amazon distribution center. You can own a slice of that for as little as $100,000 using your 1031 exchange proceeds. So I work a lot with real estate brokers, agents, helping them get listings and helping them provide an exit solution on the back end of a lot of baby boomers. So a lot of our clients are 50 years old, 60, 70. They're going to have a big tax bill if they were to sell. Their kids aren't involved in their real estate portfolio. They don't want to deal with managing properties anymore, but they really don't know where they're going to place the proceeds. So we work a lot with real estate professionals on, kind of providing that exit solution. And then also I'd say too, being that this is the Net Lease Council, it's really great for all of us to work together because I'd say probably only 30% of the people are looking for a DST. The other 70 or 60 or whatever the numbers are, more than half are looking for net lease. Right. So if it's not my DST, it just provides a solution. It starts a conversation around, well, hey, maybe the first thing you want to buy is a Walgreens or a CVS. It's really common that we do that. And maybe the DST is a backup solution in the 1031 exchange. I call it the parachute. So, you use the 3 property rule. Maybe the first property that you identify as a Dollar General. The second one is an AutoZone or a Walgreens or whatever. And then the third one, just in case those first 2 fall out, could be a DST because you can reserve equity in a DST and I can lock that up for a period of time for clients. So we work a lot with net lease agents and brokers, a lot of the time in that backup position, and then also in the boot portion of a 1031 exchange. So if you have a client that sold a property for, $5 million and that Walgreens or that, Tractor Supply or, Chipotle or Starbucks or whatever, if that comes in less than $5 million, if it comes in at 4.2, and you have $800,000 left in taxable boot, we can fill that 800K or even $100,000 increment, because we can go all the way down to 100 and even less sometimes. So I can actually piece out that puzzle piece there for that taxable boot using the DST also. So if you have a client that's like, hey, I don't want to pay any money in taxes, well, hey, you can also, look at the DST for the remainder portion of that 1031 exchange. So I work with EXP Commercial. I know James Wang really well, the president. He brought me in to teach classes inside of EXP University. So I know, see a couple faces on here. You guys know the class that I teach, but it's called Deal Makers, 1031/1033 exchanges and more. And we host that class every fourth Tuesday of the month at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Monica helps me with that as well. Monica Thompson, who lives in Carlsbad. That's actually my sister. And Monica is our California Connect out there. She does business development for us at Fortitude Investment Group. And we're also licensed with EXP Commercial. We have our real estate licenses, but we don't practice. So we pass out leads to real estate agents. I don't list properties or work with buyers buying properties because I do DSTs and I run a financial wealth management firm. So I don't like wearing two hats. So we teach classes inside of EXP University on prospecting using the 1031 exchange. And I go through all of this in a lot more detail during that session.
Terrific.
That's awesome, Tommy. And, you pointed out one thing I really wanted to emphasize is for folks in our council is a lot of times your client will have quote boot, which is that remaining portion that they didn't place. So to know that we have Tommy and his team and resources at Fortitude is just another great resource and tool for all of us here at EXP. So I think next year, Tommy, when we get going, we'll probably have you come in and do a presentation to our council more about the 1031, 1033 DST vehicle. And again, there's just a lot of opportunity for all of us to cross network here. So if you don't have Tommy's information or you're not familiar with his council, I would encourage you to drop in on one of his Zooms and, send any clients that you're working with that need to be educated on it. So thanks again, Tommy and Monica. I really appreciate your support. So, I see a couple new faces. Chad Masker, how are you, sir?
Hey, guys.
So I'd love Chad to make an introduction because Chad is running a very important council for all of EXP that relates to how we interact from agents to corporate. So Chad, why don't you take a minute and just share with everyone what you're working on? That'd be helpful if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So for those of you that don't know, the residential side has always had well, maybe not always, but far longer than us, they've had an agent advisory council. I believe it's been at the national level, and then they've recently added the state councils, or maybe that's reversed. But we've never had an agent advisory council on the commercial side until now. So they sent out a call for applications late last summer, I think. I applied. I was picked along with Jared Graham and some others, Billy Spain. We're all on board. Michael, are you on the council?
Yes,
yeah,
I'm on it.
Yep. You're on the council too.
Yep.
Sorry, I was trying to remember. Like, there's the mentor group and then there's the council group, and I mix them up. And so we got together, and then they said, who wants to be the chair? And I said, me, because I have some agenda items I definitely want to address. So that's it. We've had 2 meetings. Not a lot to report. Just kind of still getting a feel for this. They presented like some NPS data to us. We've gotten some information about the state of the technology stack of, where we've been, where we're going, which that was one of my top concerns based on the kind of the, seeing stuff leave, but not being really replaced, but it is being replaced. And marketing, Jared and I just got off a call today with the marketing team to talk about punching up like listing presentation, marketing documents. And we want to have more like social media stuff as well. But also more importantly, want to hear from you guys. If you missed my post, I'm a pretty prolific poster on Workplace, but if you missed my post, I put out a, open call, open door kind of thing. You can set an appointment with me to talk and bend my ear about whatever you want, whether it's, you know, something you don't like that's going on, or maybe it's a, you know, a feature request or something you wish we could be doing differently or add on, or maybe, you know, there's a component to the tech stack that you think is missing that we should be exploring. I'd love to hear about all of that. For those of you that don't know my background, I've only been doing this about 4 or 5 years now, but I owned an IT company for 20 years. So I'm obviously very biased and, you know, very much into how the tech stack works with us and how we can, you know, leverage our time and stuff. So that's a pretty important thing to me. But I'll put my link to my Calendly in the chat here, because I feel like I'm starting to ramble. And if anybody wants to have some one-on-one time for whatever reason, feel free, you know, book 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever you want. I've already had about 6 of these meetings in the last week. They've been great, very informative. So starting to feel like I'm rambling. So I'm going to shut up and give it back to you, Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Chad. I'm going to keep you on the spot there with your technology background. Obviously, we all use technology and transacted and lead generation. And if you have any thoughts or ideas specifically to our Net Lease Council, this product type, from, you know, trying to help agents get listings or market intelligence and promoting quote 10, you know, trying to capture 1031 exchange leads. You know, we'd love your expertise and knowledge if you have any ideas on that.
Yeah, so what I would say is I probably don't have a lot to offer right now. The majority of my marketing, my leads are through 3 channels: Google My Business, LinkedIn, and Reonomy. The Google My Business stuff alone keeps me very busy. I would say most of what I do is buyer tenant side, probably 70%. I would love to have more listing side stuff, but the way that my marketing outreach works is that it's attracting those kinds of people. So, you know, the goal for next year will definitely be to spend more time. Probably I'm more on the Reonomy side, doing more kind of cold outreach, if you will. I don't like to cold call. I don't cold call at all. So for me, it'll be text messaging campaigns. But yeah, happy to share that data as I get it, as I share, you know, everything else in terms of best practices and stuff.
Good.
But
Perfect.
yeah, that's it.
Love to tap into your knowledge base going into 2024. And then I think lastly, you're the reigning mentor of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm still not sure how that happened, being like as new as I am, but yeah, I was named commercial mentor of the year, and I think it's simply because I'm such a newer agent myself to this that I was able to kind of empathize and understand where the holes were in terms of the training that EXP offers and everything else. You know, I think a lot of people, they get out of academy and they're like, okay, what's next? What do I do now? And I'm like, oh, I know, I can tell you that. And there's we have a lot of really great mentors, but a lot of those mentors that are older and more experienced, I think sometimes they jump from A to Z because they make assumptions that agents know stuff. And it happens. I mean, this happens in any industry, right? I just happen to be an agent who knows maybe just slightly more than a newer agent, so I can tell them what I went through as a newbie because it's still fresh to me. So I help them get their technology. So if you don't know, I'll put the link to my workplace group in the chat. But I have a Chad's technology and marketing tips. But I produce a ton of video content, tons of how-to videos about how to leverage Reonomy, how to leverage LinkedIn, your CRM, all the stuff that you wanted to know that you think you were going to get in Academy, but you didn't. And it's really probably not EXP's job to train on that. I give that to you. Yeah, this is like the second phase, right? After Academy, I give you all the stuff you need to do after that to get lead generation going and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll put that link in here as well.
Okay. Awesome, Chad. Thank you so much. So I think what we're going to do today is just quickly summarize. You know, this is our 4th call. We made our first call was the introduction. Then we did a deep dive into 1031 exchanges, which I would like to highlight year end. This is when a lot of people, even though the markets have been somewhat choppy out there, you'll probably see a flurry of activity, people trying to close for year end, and then they'll still have the first quarter to look for these replacement properties. So, you know, if you hear of someone, I think the one thing I want to emphasize here is that we're all together. And, you know, I like to use the phrase, it's who, not how. And for my career, I've made all the mistakes out there, and it was always because I didn't know how to do it and I was afraid to ask. So you've got tons of knowledge and experience here, and we want to try and leverage that. So please share that with your fellow brokers, agents, both on the realty and commercial, and then of course your clients. We're planning, some good stuff for the beginning of the year, but I'm going to take this opportunity to turn it over to my co-chair and esteemed partner in the council, Connie Bradley, who was instrumental to help me launch this in the background. Like we had a lot of thought that we put into it. And, this is our first council within EXP, so we're new at it. We're open for suggestions, criticism, anything we can do to improve what we're going to do in 2024. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Connie, and welcome, Connie. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here and great to see everyone here on the call. It's an exciting time of the year, wrapping up 2023. As Michael said, it's been a little choppy, but my mind in this commercial real estate business on the EXP commercial platform is production. I wake up every morning thinking about doing deals. I go to bed at night, to rest up so I can get up the next morning and look for more deals. It's all about making deals. I'm a deal maker. That's the way I'm wired, and I love it. It's super, super challenging. There's big gaps between owners and tenants and land buyers and sellers. But we all have to get better at negotiating and staying in the game and follow it through. Stay in it, stay in the deal. And a lot of them will make, maybe not at that moment, but some of these listings may go through 2 or 3 potential buyers before the right one closes. Maybe you're running with a tenant and you show them, you're out in the field with them, showing them hundreds of properties, and eventually they will land. So I encourage you to be strong, stay the course, and put the numbers on the board. That's how we win, is put the numbers on the board. So I'd like to talk a little bit about my process of how I wrap up the end of the year. I like to look at the 12 months that in review and acknowledge the wins and accept the losses and grow from all of it, and be grateful that I'm still in the arena. The commercial real estate marketplace, it's a revolving door, and a lot of people don't make it. And with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you firsthand, the only reason I'm still in the game is I kept going. I've been in up markets and down markets, and every market's really challenging. When it's up, you're working 3 times as hard, and when it's down, you're working 4 times as hard, trying to get the deals done. So I encourage you to stay the course, and then get ready for 2024, which is exciting. Just to say the numbers, 2024 is kind of amazing. That's the year we'll be experiencing up ahead. And one of the things I encourage people to do is, when they're setting out their goals for the year, slow it down a little bit and kind of visualize yourself in 3 years. We tend to overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 3 years. So by looking at who we want to be, what kind of business we want to do, and what kind of clients we want to represent 3 years from now, and get real clear on that, and then come back to the new year. And based on your vision 3 years from now, start thinking about, how much money do I want to make, and how many deals I need to do to make it. From there, you want to make sure that you have a really powerful reason why you want to do this business. It's got to be big, because when you're in a lull or challenges, you got to remember your big why. So always have a big why.
Connie, I want to jump in on that because that's such an important topic.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you why you chose to be a net lease broker out of all the other asset classes out there. How did this come about for you?
Well, I got lucky. I got an opportunity to represent an investment group early in my career as a broker, and it resonated with me. I like every part of it. I like working closely with the client, understanding what their goals are. I love looking for the asset that fits their requirement. I love going under contract, and I love negotiating the deal terms and going through the transaction, the due diligence, the whole gambit. It just always resonated with me, even though I have experience in leasing and in office and industrial. Retail net lease investments nationwide just resonated with me, and I was able to attract more opportunities because of that enthusiasm. When you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, you know, doors open. The company I was with, because of my enthusiasm, kept saying yes. They kept allowing me to do the things that I wanted to do that they had not been doing previously, because it was a boutique firm. And I was willing to go through the channels to create something new.
That's awesome, Connie. And it's similar to me. My background was in retail, tenant rep, site selection, development. And I just kind of lucked into a very large 1031 exchange. I didn't know what it was at the time, way back in 2001. And when I found out that they wanted to do the 1031 exchange with net lease deals, I was just like, oh, it was a light bulb moment for me. And I had pivoted my career much like you on that. It was not like this magic plan or design to become, a net lease broker and be in this space. And so I want to like kind of emphasize that point to everyone that might be new here, is that you just never know where that opportunity is going to be. And I would say, if you think of it in the most basic terms of a single tenant, a Walgreens or CVS, and you can master underwriting that one cash flow, you can expand it to multi-tenant and any asset class. It seems more complicated than it is. I mean, there's big barriers to entry to get in there, but you got to think big and you got to believe in your possibilities. So I just wanted to share that with what Connie's experience is. And the other part too is that two things. One, we're coming out of one of the toughest markets. It's going to be a little bit before the economy starts to pick up. So we're in a really good place. And I will say this, unapologetically, is that we have the experience to compete and win and execute business with any of the big shops out there, whether it's CB Richard Ellis, Newmarket, Marcus and Millichap, Matthews. It doesn't matter. We have the experience, the relationships, and all the technology and services. So it's just about you, having confidence to go out there and make the calls and do the network and the research. So I want people to believe that you're capable, and this is a possibility, because Connie and I are excited and we really believe we can build something here. So I'll stop there, Connie, and let you continue.
Well, I'd like to open it up, and there's how many people are on the call today? Maybe go.
It says 25, but I know there's some people that are recording these notes, which I don't particularly care for because we do record them. But right now it's 25, so it's probably really 23. Call it 20, 21 if we subtract ourselves, Connie.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about some successes that the group has had in 2023, so we can applaud some successes so we can build upon that.
Anybody? Because I'll start calling on people.
Raise your hand.
Hey, guys, I have a question I want to bring back a little bit to what you were talking about. As a mentor, I'm constantly getting asked, do I have to specialize? And I think they get it hammered in academy training that it's like specialize or die, but then you get people that, and it sounds like, Michael, you were in the situation where you didn't necessarily have a direction until you had something fall in your lap. I kind of feel like that's probably the case for at least half of the people that, they find something and latch onto it more so than they are deliberately heading towards something. What are all y'all's thoughts and advice on, should an agent, when they get brand new and they're leaving academy, should they be like researching, be like, okay, you know what, I need to specialize in this and go that route? Or, can they keep it kind of loose in general? Like, I consider myself a generalist. I don't really do multifamily, but I do everything else. Is that okay too? Because what I tell the agents is, I'm like, I'm not saying the specialization isn't right, but I don't feel like you should have to have the pressure of specializing right now. So talk about that.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that. Coming out of the academy, and you're a newbie, it's good to be a generalist, and taste the fruit and see what you resonate with. The one thing that I've been really saying over and over to the people I'm working with as a mentor or a coach is that you got to get on the phone. You have to talk to people that need your services. If you're new in the business, and you're going to work your local market, I always recommend start in your local market. You got to start in and get familiar with your marketplace. Knock on some doors if you're uncomfortable on the phone, but you got to find people to help. And that's step number one. And being a generalist, whether you're office, retail, industrial, net lease specialist, you need to find people to help, and that will help guide you to grow your business into a specialty. Michael?
Yeah, I agree with it. So, listen, if you're just coming into the market, unless you're part of a team, and I know that's could be a taboo subject here in EXP, I'm not sure, but there's net lease brokerage companies out there that that's what they do. You can use Marcus, they cover all disciplines, but they're going to put you in a bucket. Let's just call it net lease. And so they're looking for people just to focus on that asset class. But I think where we sit here at EXP is, it's especially if you're new, you need to be a generalist. And like Connie said, you really need to do two things. You need to understand your own market, and you need to get out there and build a presence. And cold calling is a hard thing to do. I know that they're setting up a program you're going to be required to make a certain amount of calls. I'm long in the tooth, so I don't do a lot of cold calling. I like to think of them as more warm calling, or I'm very, I have a real understanding of what my target call will be. But I've done all of that. So, it's a hard thing to do, but once you kind of get some rhythm, it feeds on itself, right? And it's a process. You get a call, you get a meeting, you start to build a relationship, and then hopefully you get a listing. But I think what I see in this group so far is that there's a lot of diversity as far as backgrounds go, and so you don't have to be all in on net lease. You have people here that can help you if the right situation presents itself.
Exactly. And I want to comment on that. You're not alone. Once you get a potential client, a prospect, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to go it alone. Even in my position, I almost always partner with someone on my deals because I need local representation, because I either bring the client and they have the real estate. So you want to partner with people that can bring value to that circumstance. So if it's in your local market, let's get you someone in your local market. Or if you don't need someone present there, we can set you up with a transaction kind of mentor. You don't have to stay with that person, but it's for that transaction. And they're part of the deal and will help you through everything from presentation of a listing presentation to signing the listing agreement, getting it on the marketplace, and negotiating letters of intent, completing purchase and sell agreements or lease agreements, taking it all the way through to closure and finalizing on sky slope and confirming that the client is satisfied. So you don't have to do that whole thing by yourself. And if you're not required to have a mentor, that's okay. We can still partner. You don't have to have a designated mentor. It's called a partnership at that point. I welcome people to work with one another for that very reason.
That's awesome, Connie. I see Tommy. Tommy's got his hand up, and then Master does too. So Tommy, go ahead.
I think April had her hand up first, so I'll
Oh,
let
I'm sorry,
April.
April. I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll go after her.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Tommy. I wanted to speak into Chad's question. I too am a mentor, and what I share with individuals is I do see the need to specialize when you start looking at the big picture, but initially focus on, as Connie was saying, know your marketplace, get an understanding of where the needs are, and just kind of determine if that's something that you're interested in. Just start off with an idea of this is going to be my focus. However, as other opportunities come across your desk, be willing to take advantage of those opportunities. But as far as time blocking and studying and researching, let that be more so into the particular product that you're most interested in. So that's one of the things that I do there. And I also share with my team to just tenant rep so that they have an understanding of those particular deals. I like to say that tenant rep pays the bills, right? But my niche market, such as land, which takes a whole lot longer to close, that helps me create wealth. So I'm giving them, just a strategy or a suggested game plan to hold them over in the meantime while they're focusing on their niche. And so that's all I wanted to share. Oh, also the main important thing too, I'm not a cold caller, but I'm very strategic about getting out in my community and connecting with the major players. And I move silently. And you don't have to be in everyone's face and at everyone's meeting, but be there. And when you do have something to say, make sure it's something of value. So those are some of the things that I share, Chad.
Thank you, April.
Nice. Love it. Tommy.
Yeah, no, this is a super interesting combo because, so I didn't say this in the beginning, but the reason why I gravitate towards net lease is because I did net lease sales for a number of years. And I loved it. And immediately when I got into the net lease brokerage that I was with, it was not go out and network. It wasn't talk to anybody in person. It was all just phone pounding. And, I made 200 calls in a day, one day, because my broker said we used to do 400 a day. And I'm like, dude, there's no way, right? So I tested it and I did 200 and it was, started at 7:30 in the morning, ended at 7:30 at night. It was a total pain. It wasn't quality calls. It was really just the volume game. But what I'm getting at is I did a lot of cold calling and it worked for me. And I was a generalist net lease advisor when I first started. And then I started to hone in really that I liked certain different types of tenants and sectors. So I ended up finding out that I really liked QSR. I liked calling on the guys that own the Panera Breads, you know, the Chipotle's, the Arby's, you know, the Burger Kings. I got to know all the franchise owners, the big players, the smaller players. And then I also liked certain different types of sectors. Like I liked calling on Best Buys and Home Depots and Lowe's also, because those are kind of the big whales that you could chase. And those guys were real sellers also. And there was a number of those deals that got closed in our shop, but Wawa's and things like that also. But I met somebody the other day, because now I'm the opposite. You know, I don't transact in net lease, but I still love the sector. But now I do what I kind of started off by saying that I do is I run a private wealth management firm, and we do a lot of in-person networking now, which really works for me. And the video content and LinkedIn, like Chad was talking about, social media and trade shows. So I meet a lot of people in person now. I met somebody the other day, and I asked them what they did, and they said, I specialize in net lease in QSRs. And like immediately for me, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I love that. So I guess what I'm getting at is if you are a generalist, maybe having a couple of things that are specialty areas that you focus on, that you can say when you meet somebody like, hey, yeah, I'm kind of a generalist. I do everything, but I do specialize in QSR and this, that, and whatever, right? Just to kind of catch some of those, like that caught my attention, and that I'm a good person to get my attention caught, because I'm going to network with those people now, and I probably, you know, may be able to do some stuff with them. So if you're a generalist, I would recommend having some specialty areas, especially in net lease, because net lease is huge. There's so many different particles of net lease. And then the last thing that I was going to ask to Connie and Michael was, when I was at that net lease brokerage, there would be kind of like it was kind of like an invisible pool of off-market properties that were there, right? It was kind of, a little bit of a boys, girls club type of thing. You kind of had to know different people in the office or whatever. But is there going to be an initiative to kind of build a pot like that, maybe some off-market opportunities or wants and needs and things like that in 2024?
That's a great question, and that would be a good goal, Tommy. That would be our hope, I think, Connie.
Absolutely. We want to grow the Net Lease Council with the interested agents that are within the group that want to be productive. The goal is to get as many of us bringing on new listings, bringing on off-market properties, and sharing that information on the Net Lease Council group on Workplace. And that's the growth plan. In May of 2024, we will all be at ICSC, and EXP Commercial Corporate will have a table there, a booth there, and we're going to ask as many people as possible to join us there. And while we're there, as a group and as individuals, going out and meeting as many of the retailers in the marketplace, as well as developers and brokers also, and start building the database of net lease stakeholders and share that information on the Net Lease Council. We're brand new. This is our fourth meeting, and the purpose of today's call is open mic, so we all get to know one another and network with each other and feel comfortable with one another to share information. That's the whole thing. You got to build the trust, share the information, be willing to co-broker, share commissions in order to lift the whole net lease group. And our success as a group is your success as an individual. You can talk about your company's net lease group and become more powerful because you've got 167 people that are in your group, and you can feel more powerful versus by yourself. So yes, we're going to welcome everyone to share on and off market opportunities on the Net Lease Council network.
That's a great great comment, Connie. And I will add, so, and this is unique in the sense that, I pivoted out of the net lease space right at the beginning of COVID into opportunity zones. So you know, the interesting part is that I find myself almost starting from the beginning to build a pipeline. But so, you know, I go back and what worked for me, and this whole off-market conversation I love, because a place to build that, you know, pipeline is, and this also applies to retail, and Spencer could speak to this, is if you're working with retail tenant rep brokers, in particular here in EXP, and they're representing tenants, most likely they're working with preferred developers, right? They may have existing relationships who they list with today, but what preferred developers want are motivated buyers, and the best motivated buyer is a qualified 1031 exchange buyer. So, you know, I would have variety of different 1031 requirements come across my desk, and I would call up different, even brokers, but different. I would definitely call the other brokers because you want to build those relationships. But I would call the merchant developers, say, hey, I've got this exchange coming up. What do you have? And you'd be surprised. They've got a list and you're like, yeah, we think we could sell this one, or they'll pull things out. So that's just a tactic and a strategy that we can dive a little more into going into next year. But I want to get these other questions in. Master, please take your mic off. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
All right.
I'm a native New Yorker. So
cool.
That being said, you know, I'm still on the residential side, so I'm resident commercial. However, I mean, some of you may not know that I have closed on a commercial deal before coming to EXP. So during the heart of the shutdown, during COVID, I closed on an acquisition deal. So it was an office space, a little over 3,000 square feet, parking lot, package deal, 1.3 million. That being said, you know, I see as far as tenant rep leasing, or, you know, leasing in general in Charleston, I just see a lot of growth post-COVID, and this collaborating with other commercial, you know, agents. I just see this. I see the growth, more opportunity here than, you know, than multifamily, because I see a lot of more businesses opening up now. So I just see, you know, as far as, you know, tapping into this market, this asset class, as just you know, to help the client, but in a way, you know, I can, you know, make a living, you know, get a paycheck quicker than a lot of other assets. And then, you know, partnering with someone, I have no problem with that. It's just that getting access to the forms can be an issue if I'm partnering with someone else that's not in my local market. So how do I overcome that? Because I don't have access to that yet.
Okay. Well, I think the forms question we should probably take offline, or Chad can speak to it since he's the master. In your particular market, I would give, this is something I'll throw out an idea to anyone that's new or just kind of thinking about this space, is if you see a retail shopping center or an industrial complex going up, drive around that market and look for sites, right? There could be pad sites for restaurants, gas stations, medical type buildings. Like, that's one of the things is you can go out. It might not be an existing net lease today, but you could create the opportunity by, you know, working with a developer or a tenant. So that's that's a great avenue to kind of work your way into the net lease arena. But Master, reach out to me. I can try and help you out in the forums afterwards. This call is flying by, which I love. But let's move on to Spencer. Spencer, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Michael. And I just kind of wanted to add to the discussion of general versus specialized, a little bit about myself. I'm 32 years old, been practicing commercial real estate right out of university at 22. Literally graduated on a Sunday and was at this International Council Shopping Center convention that night. So I guess I'm going to take a pretty strong stance and say it's imperative you specialize in some form of fashion. Otherwise, if you want to represent large users, like corporate users or large buyers looking for a particular product, they're only going to work with someone who knows that product line and can negotiate to that strength. I've only specialized in retail for 10 years, and in my retail experience of only leasing really and some forms of buying and selling representing for corporate users, I could tell you I've gotten pretty damn good at negotiating a retail lease. A lot of people will tell you retail is a very difficult sector to transact in. And I will tell you, with that said, I don't swim in the office lane. That's not something I know. I do know a bit of industrial because industrial leases are now taking the same style as retail leases. So I would say it's imperative. Yes, you want to be well-rounded out the gate, but you certainly want to specialize. You want to work with others who are specializing because that's how you could stay in your lane. Commercial real estate's a wild west. It's a big ocean, and you don't want to drown if you're trying to do opportunity zones, retail, industrial, office. I think you're gonna overwhelm yourself quickly. And like I said, the corporate users, the ones who are going to provide established cash flow and reoccurring business and revenue year in and year out, are going to require their representation to be specialized and know what they're talking about. And so, how do you network within your specialty? A lot of these markets have trade associations, very young broker associations. You want to network in those. And then to completely agree with Tommy, I'm a master broker for Caliber Collision. And if there's a particular area of business that you enjoy, go after it. I try to do a lot of auto real estate. There's a lot of brokers, as Seth kind of iterated earlier in the conversation, they're doing a lot of energy work. There's a lot of people in retail now gearing towards cannabis work, and that's how they go about it. So I'm going to take the stance that specializing as a young guy with 10 years of experience is pretty imperative.
I love it, Spencer. Boy, we're going to bring you back again. Spot on, definitely. I would say though, like you were at a good spot though, so we won't get into the weeds there, but I agree with everything you said, and we need to talk further about this. So we probably schedule another call around this topic. But let's move on to Jeremy Williams, sir. You're on the floor. Going once, Jeremy. Twice. 3 times. Blair, you're up.
Thank you. I've only been in this business since 1972, so I don't know a heck of a lot about it. But I can tell you, if you don't specialize, you're dead in the water, just like Spencer said. You've got to know what you're doing and stay in your lane. You have a headache, you don't go to a foot doctor, right? And the people that are trying to take mentees and make them general practitioners are not doing them a favor, not at all. Learn a discipline, stay in that discipline, know it cold. And then if you decide that you want to expand, go for it. But you're going to die on the vine, bouncing from one side of the fence to the other. I've seen it a million times, and I've been around to see a million of them happen.
Oh, I love it. That's some sage advice from Blair. I appreciate it. And I think to emphasize, that's why we're here as a group. When I was speaking to James Hong and I gave him my background, he's like, okay, you can start our Net Lease Council. I mean, I don't think he would have asked me to do it if I had only been, in and around the space a couple years, but was because I've been in the space for 25 years. And then I looked around inside the network and I found Connie, and Connie's on the left coast, which is California, if you don't know that, and I'm on the East Coast. So we have, a footprint that can cover this whole country. And we want to be the net lease specialists, and we're more than willing to, teach and train and share all our knowledge and wisdom to help But, on that note, we're looking for commitment too. So I'm not telling people to, not be net lease brokers, but, you got to be committed to really succeed in this. So I appreciate what you said, Blair and Spencer, for sure. Jeremy, I see you're up. Can you take your mic off?
Is
April.
the host able to unmute his mic?
Okay, let me see. Where'd he go? I just lost him. That's unmute.
I see him down below, but if you're able to, there he is. Jeremy, can you speak now? Oh, no, we can't hear you. Okay.
All right, Jeremy, when you can speak up. I see the Navy vet, Reggie. He's had his hand up for a little bit. Reggie.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone.
Jeremy, drop your question in the chat if you can't speak. Go ahead, Reggie.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone. I appreciate being part of this Net Lease Council. I've been meaning to get in here for a long time, but just been in the streets, creating relationships and building rapport with different business owners. I'm a generalist. However, I specialize in assisted living facilities. That is my thing I love doing. But along with that, with being a generalist, some of the things I've been doing for me, because I am a newbie, I do not know it all by far. I've been focused on the small business owners, more of the grassroots approach, because I'm getting a lot of those folks coming to me that need to either lease out location or, hey, I want to buy a building. And it has actually been helpful because I have an active duty Navy personnel or shipmate who's actually going to get his first building. And the guy's only 23 years old, him and his wife. So that's kind of been my bread and butter for me.
Okay. Well, good. Welcome. And please invite anyone else that wants to learn more about the net lease space.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other hands up here?
Yes, I had my hands up.
Okay. April. I think I did something to kick you off the screen. I apologize. I don't know what happened.
It's no worries. And I wanted to just briefly, I think it was Master, just kind of being here from the very beginning of EXP Commercial, accessing the forms, and I'm sure Michael will touch more on it with you. You will not, being with EXP Realty, you will not have access to EXP Commercial forms. You have to be in the EXP Commercial side of the arena. So normally what is done, you would have to determine if you want to use your local commercial forms or partner with an EXP commercial agent and let them be the lead on the deal, and they're using their forms. And that's how it's kind of been. But this question I wanted to put out there just for you all to take into consideration. And it's just a personal observation for me. When EXP Commercial first got started, I've been doing quite a bit strategically networking to bring exposure into the Atlanta, Georgia area. And so sometimes what I noticed is there'll be other agents that'll get their license for Georgia, which you can get a reciprocal license anywhere, and then come into the market and build relationships with those that I've built relationships with, and then just kind of get that direct contact and access. And I just wanted to know if we can have some sort of understanding that just amongst us as a team, and we're building up this council and this group, that we just be kind of mindful of going into other people's markets when they're there working the market, and maybe just considering going in and partnering with the person who has been in the area, being the boots on the ground, beating the pavements and that sort of thing. Again, it's just a suggestion, but I wanted to just put that out there.
Fair enough. Appreciate it.
And
Spencer,
just to interject, Michael, April, I think that's a fantastic idea. That's the only way this thing's going to work is if we all trust each other and work together, being that we respect each other's lanes as well as our market boundaries. Because if you want to fiduciary represent your client to the best of your ability, you're going to have to engage a local expert like April if you're entering the Atlanta MSA or any of these other places like Charleston that Master is. It's in your best interest. I know I do a lot of transactional work with Caliber, so I don't want to waste a lot of people's time like April, but if you're looking to build a network in Atlanta or Charleston, it would be foolish not to engage these people. And honestly, I would be pretty upset too, April. I just want to agree with you and let you know that, there's people that share the same thought process.
yeah,
I
perfect.
appreciate that.
Love it. Jeremy, I see your hand up again. You want to try again, sir?
Yeah, my mic is, can you hear
Oh,
me
there you
now?
go. Yeah, we
All right.
can hear you.
All right,
Perfect.
yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. All right, so yeah, my name is Jeremy Williams, and I've been doing real estate for 3 years. So when I first started out, I started out as a residential brokerage. My first deal in real estate was commercial, so I became a residential agent. However, so I have business in both sides of the field, so when you talk to other agents or brokers or whatever, that sounds kind of crazy to them. So they think you all over the place. I just have business in both sides of the field. So, I like commercial better than residential, so I made a decision to just stay with commercial. So with that being said, I'm a commercial specialist. I specialize in commercial real estate. That's my specialty. So that's what I used to tell people when I used to do residential. My first 2 listings in commercial was a business for sale in a lease, a net lease. So but the broker at my first brokerage, he didn't know anything about commercial. So, he's been doing it for a long time, but he doesn't know anything about commercial. So I had to part ways for him. And that's when I came to EXP. But I was on the realty side because I still was doing both. So now I switched to EXP commercial, at the beginning of last year. So, I just been doing commercial ever since then. I kind of disagree with, just specializing with one thing, but, everybody is different, to each his own. I'm a versatile person. So that's why I define myself as a commercial specialist. So I have various different clients. I built my clientele up on my own. So I have tenant rep clients. I have landlord under my belt. Like I spoke to you before, in a group chat on the workplace. I told you I reached a plateau. So I got a lot of mom and pop tenants. So I need anchor tenants now. So that's what I'm seeking now, because that's going to land me with other commercial landlords that I already know that are also already dealing with the big brokers. So they already know to go to them. So they always ask me, well, do you have any anchor tenants? I know I don't got no anchor tenants. I just got mom and pop tenants right now. So I know with an anchor tenant that can land me a listing with them pretty much sooner than what I'm doing right now. So, I have various different clients. Like I said, I have on the sales side, I got a lot of buyers. I'm trying to get a couple of listings for a couple of multifamily builders or whatever. But all my buyers reach out to me. That's how I've grown my business, especially on the sales side. So I'm not just going to refer on my business. And that's the case. I will never be introduced to commercial real estate.
Sure.
So that's
Okay.
kind of great.
Well, I think keep coming in here, Jeremy. There's things that we can help you on the net lease space to build your your resume. There's a kind of a broad range of work you're doing, but there's a lane here for you to kind of learn this specialty, and it is a specialty. So thank you for being here. We're up against the hour, so I want to, Tommy, I see your hand back up.
Yeah, just super quick question on Jeremy's thing, because that to me sounded kind of like a want or a need type of thing. Like, he's looking for anchor tenants. Like, you know,
Yeah.
and not mom or top, like he's looking for actual anchor tenants. So I don't know if that's like QSR anchor tenants or if that's like like a Walgreens type of thing, or if that like what type of anchor tenant that is, but maybe we can create like a want and need board or something
Well,
like that.
that's both. I look for both.
Yeah,
Yep.
so exactly. So
I'm seeking
if you
both.
have like, if you have specific criteria around types of anchor tenants you're looking for, maybe we can start like a want and need board for the
I
net lease.
love that, Tommy. That's a great idea. Jeremy, I can talk more about that. I have some thoughts, but you know, again, we're running up against the hour, so please reach out afterwards. You know, listen, we're excited where we are today, and we're more excited for the future of 2024. I really believe we've got the foundation here. We need you. We want you to lean in, reach out to your fellow agents if they want to come in here just to learn. But if you have requirements or clients, I mean, keep your ears up for 1031 exchange. Ask your network, tell them about EXP's Net Lease platform. We have a ton of resources, skills, and expertise. So I wish everyone happy holidays and a happy new year, but I want to give Connie the last word here. Connie.
Oh, I'm with you. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Each meeting we get more collaborative as a group, and we're growing. And thank you so much for helping us launch the Net Lease Council in 2023 and help us grow the Net Lease Council for 2024, get more involved, bring more listings, more off-market properties. We'll get a want and needs board going, and let's grow the Net Lease Council. It's really a vibrant, thriving industry where we can make good money and help one another to succeed. And happy holidays to you and your family.
Yeah, I agree with you, Connie. And corporate is behind us. So I want you to know that. And please use our workspace. Drop questions in there or topics that we can plan for our future calls and any requirements. Don't be shy, okay? Till then.
I
Thank
know.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.